A lot was made going into this game about the turnover battle. And on one level, that makes sense, right? Like most games go the way that the turnovers go, as a reason why NFL coaches harp on it all the time. However, this game, I feel like it was especially a large talking point, namely because the Chiefs hadn't turned over the ball since the last time they played the Bills, and the Bills had not lost the turnover battle all year. They were really coming in as a team that was kind of on the historic end of having very few turnovers through the season. So more than ever, it seemed like a game that was two teams that had been playing very clean football. The Bills in particular had done well to force turnovers a lot during the season, and their defense, really their quality of their defense, seemed to be somewhat dependent on their ability to force turnovers. The defense wasn't doing so hot when it wasn't able to force turnovers. Anyway, ended up being a big talking point, and ultimately the Chiefs turned the ball over once, and the Bills didn't turn the ball over at all. Bills continued to win the turnover battle, but the Chiefs won the game. However, going back and watching through this game, it doesn't seem like a Bills performance that was clean. And we're going to go through some plays here that were actually like pretty sloppy. And it's honestly shocking to me that the Bills didn't turn the ball over in this game. So we're going beyond the basic turnover stats to show that, the Chiefs actually got a lot of opportunities from the Bills. They got the Bills in positions, and the Bills created positions where they really could have turned the ball over. A lot of balls bounced their way. Chiefs DBs occasionally didn't make catches, but let's look all into it. Basically answer the question, how the heck did the Bills not turn the ball over in this game? So let's start with 14:22 to go in the first quarter. This is the second play from scrimmage for the Bills. Their first play was about a 6-yard run from Josh Allen, a 4-yard run from Josh Allen. So they've got second and about 6. In a scoreless game just getting started. So let us run this, and then we'll talk about the play. So you've got Allen in the gun. He's got 2 to the left, 2 in the backfield, and 1 to the right. He fakes a handoff to James Cook and throws over the middle, and it goes right through the hands of Brian Cook, the safety. I remember being furious when I saw this, that, oh my God, Josh Allen just gave us one, and we weren't able to get it done. So the Bills look like they are in 21 personnel. I don't know their personnel very well, but this is clearly James Cook. This looks like a fullback, and that looks like Dalton Kincaid. It's certainly a tight end. It's either Schultz or Kincaid. And they've got Mac Hollins, the wide receiver here, and is that Amari Cooper over there? I think so. So anyway, it looks like 2 running backs and 1 tight end, which is what gets you 21 personnel. The Chiefs have matched that by coming out in their base. They've got 3 linebackers and 4 defensive backs. And they're essentially playing a cover 2, but not really honoring the flats too much. So you've got your deep half safety, your deep half safety. But if you notice, the corners kind of give some cushion here. They're not really challenging the flats. They're more just dropping back in coverage. So what the Bills end up doing is they end up pulling a guard. If you watch here, they pull their center. So their center pulls to help block the edge right here, as everybody else kind of blocks down. Then they bring the fullback out as like a lead blocker and have this swing action for James Cook after the play action. So you can see it here. They kind of get the center out here on the edge to make sure the edge is taken care of. And then they've got a fullback coming out to lead, and James Cook is coming out this way. At the same time, the tight end, this looks like it's actually Schultz. Or no, Kincaid is 88, right? Look, I told you I don't know the Bills personnel that well. But they've got the tight end coming across the middle. They've got Hollins coming on a more of a post route. And then they've got Amari Cooper working up the field on the right side. Allen gets pressured because they decide to leave Chris Jones one-on-one, which if you read the next gen stats from this game. They did that 11 times in the first half, and Chris Jones got 7 pressures on those 11 snaps. So, not a great idea to leave Chris Jones one-on-one. So part of this, I think, is Chris Jones kind of sped Josh Allen up, and he just sailed this throw. I'm thinking he went there because he liked the matchup of Hollins on Nick Bolton. But it is a little bit of a congested area, right? They don't have another route challenging the safeties deep, so they're able to sit on this route. Nobody's like making them drop farther back, or nobody on the outside is challenging them. So it's not a huge window, and Bolton ends up with actually pretty good coverage on this play. Keep that in your mental bank, because I feel like Bolton gets a lot of crap for his coverage, but he does a pretty good job staying with Mac Hollins on this one. The question I have for Josh Allen is just that it looks like this play design would have really worked out great, right? You've got Cook, you've got a lead blocker. We haven't seen it yet in this game, it's right at the very beginning, but Cook ended up doing very well on the edges against the Chiefs. I don't know that I would want to challenge Trent McDuffie, but, he's 8 yards down the field from Cook, 10 yards down the field from Cook. Well, from Cook, he's even a little more than 10, maybe 12. But he's down here. If you swing this over to Cook and you have one lead blocker, that's actually not that bad on like a 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7. I wonder if part of the reason he didn't turn back was the quick pressure from Chris Jones and just trusting his guy against Nick Bolton. But in any case, this was a ball that should have been intercepted. He overthrew it, and Brian Cook, I think, was a little surprised that it just got right to him. And his hands are a little late. I think he was surprised by the ball, and he's not able to corral it. But it felt like such a missed opportunity in the moment. And the first play that really could have and should have been a turnover by the Bills, but ultimately will just go down as an incomplete pass in this 0 turnover game. But here you see from Allen, look at that. Oh, he threw it right to Cook. And it's too bad Cook I think the ball really surprised him on that one. He wasn't able to corral it, and it falls harmlessly incomplete. All right, so we jump to the very next play. 14-17 to go in the first quarter. Third play from scrimmage, and the Bills are in a 3rd and about 6. Let's run this play, and then we'll talk about it. So we've got Josh Allen in the shotgun. He's got 2 to his left, 2 to his right, and he motions Shakir over to get a 3-by-1. Chiefs look to be adjusting. Allen takes the snap. Again, he's got pressure, this time from Dana and Chris Jones. He rolls left and throws it, and the ball's tipped by Najee Johnson and by Brian Cook, and somehow neither of them is able to intercept it. Another play that'll just go down as a harmless incompletion. So taking a look at this, the Chiefs are going to run not that exotic of a coverage, but a slightly different coverage in which they're actually going to blitz Nick Bolton and drop George Karlaftis. Just try to see if they can confuse the Bills' protections. So they're actually just rushing 4. It's a simulated pressure, but these are the 4 that are rushing. And Karlaftis is going to drop back, and they essentially run a cover 2 again. So they've got 2 deep halves in the middle of the field. So I should add that. Jaden Hicks, who's playing the deep half here, is going to rotate down, and Justin Reed is going to take one half, and Brian Cook takes the other. Justin Reed kind of plays a Tampa 2 role here where it's not just Justin Reed. Jaden Hicks plays like a Tampa 2 role where he's carrying up the field. So it ends up, for all intents and purposes, it ends up being like a cover 3. So we've got basically 1, 2, 3, 4 underneath with the DBs taking the sidelines and then having 2 underneath middle defenders, and Jaden Hicks vacates when he's got a deeper route and carries it up the seam. So the Bills' route combination this time, they're going to have, from this side, Samuel run a drag route. Coleman is going down the field This is Kincaid. He's coming across. And Shakir runs an in cut. So Allen seems to be reading the left side of the field, which is unfortunate for him because Samuel coming across on the drag route is a great option. The other routes are kind of taking the underneath defenders a little bit farther down the field. And so as Samuel comes across, there isn't really anyone to pick him up. But it looks like Allen is looking for Shakir or Coleman. He's definitely looking to his left, possibly for Kincaid too. One of these three routes he's looking at, he's not reading the drag at all. And as he hits the back of his drop, he kind of runs out of time before anybody comes open. Even Samuel hasn't made huge headway, and Dana gets around, and then he's getting pressure from Chris Jones too. Dana actually does a good job of kind of grabbing, trying to swipe at his arm. He gets away. Chris Jones then is able to at least grab him enough to spin him around. And at this point, Allen's just trying to get rid of it. And at this time, Connor has come down to try to help on Samuel. Shakir's open in the middle of the field, but how's Allen going to see that? He's just spun out of trouble, and he's coming this way. So he sees Coleman deep. But Nazi Johnson actually does a good job of, he had initially come up seeing Samuel in the flat, but once Connor takes him, Nazi drops back. And as he drops back, Allen essentially throws it right to him. I mean, gosh, you'd really love him to catch this ball. It was right in between his hands. And then again, it goes right to Cook, poor Brian Cook. And it looks like Coleman kind of tipped it up in the air once, and it literally bounces right at Nazi Johnson's feet. And somehow the Chiefs weren't able to intercept this one either. Cook can't believe it. But here you can see Allen, when he dropped back, he's looking left. It might actually be to Kincaid that he's looking. And he's not open, and by the time he's able to start progressing through his reads, he's got Dana coming down on him. He manages to evade that, but Chris Jones just gets enough of him to kind of spin him around. And then Allen tosses this one off, which really should have been intercepted. Either by Nazi Johnson or by Brian Cook, but neither of them could get a hold of it. Another incomplete pass. Chiefs aren't able to get the turnover. We now go to 5:12 to go in the first quarter. The Bills are down 7-0, and they have a 2nd and 5 at about the Chiefs' 36-yard line. We'll take a look at this play, and then we'll break down what we can of it, because not a ton happens in this play. We've got Allen in the gun. He's got 3 to his left, 1 to her right, and then Shakir motions over right, and Allen drops the snap. Somehow he's able to dive on it before, even though the snap bounces forward. The ball bounces forward, but the Chiefs linemen aren't able to converge on it before Allen can. And we have our 3rd near turnover of the game that harmlessly just results in a loss of about 4 yards. So it's tough to get too much from this play because not much happens before the ball is snapped. The Chiefs do kind of rotate their coverage, interestingly. They've got 2 deep here, and if you notice, they bring Justin Reed down, rotate Cook, and drop Shamari Connor as a deep safety. So they're giving you a cover 2 look from a different alignment. It looks like it's otherwise just a cover 2 zone. Allen is looking to his left when he drops the ball, so I wonder if there's something about if he wants to hit Cook in the flat quickly. I don't know. He was in a real hurry to get his eyes to the left. It looks like they have some kind of levels concept going here where he's going to get Kincaid deeper, and then you see Cooper kind of sit. I think that's probably because McDuffie's to the outside. I think the idea would have been to have a flat deep and then out, but you're not going to go out when McDuffie's playing that outside leverage, so Cooper just smartly sits. But I don't know what about this play. I mean, maybe Allen just lost focus because it doesn't look necessarily like a quick throw. But anyway, Another situation where it's like, how have they not turned the ball over yet? And we're just in the first quarter. You can see Allen's eyes are going to the left as he drops this one. It does, sometimes an offensive line will accidentally kick that or something will happen, but Allen is able to get on it. Again, another play that could have been a turnover. No dice. Now jump ahead to 1:03 to go in the first quarter. The Chiefs have the ball up 7-3, and they've got a second and about 2 at the Bills' 23-yard line. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. Mahomes is in the shotgun. They motion Juju Smith-Schuster over to the right side. He tries to hand off and fumbles the ball. Ultimately, it's recovered by Ed Oliver. And again, not a ton to break down from this play because it ended so quickly. But it looks like the Chiefs had kind of an RPO action going here. Mahomes had the chance to hand this off, and additionally he had Noah Gray coming out to the flat. And it looks like Juju and Justin Watson might have been more like lead blockers for him. It's tough to say because neither of them seems to be that interested in turning around for the ball, especially Justin Watson, who really seems to be like lining up Kaiir Elam. So unclear on what exactly they were trying to do there, and what exactly happened at the mesh point is tough to say too. One would say that this is really one that you would think you would hand off. The end is not really like crashing down here, unless he just really didn't like the numbers, but it's not like the numbers were great here for the RPO either, if this really was just kind of a flat toss to Noah Gray. I mean, he has a defender. I guess he would have tried to come outside. But it doesn't look like, for example, Juju is doing much else rather than trying to get ready to block, and same with Justin Watson. So my best guess is this would have been just like a flat throw to Noah Gray on this side or a run by Mahomes. But it's hard to say what happened here. I think he was... from this view, it's going to be really hard to speculate. I remember in real time thinking he was trying to pull the ball and it might have got clipped on Pacheco's glove, but it's hard to say. It does, though, seem like this might be a situation. Maybe the kind of force defender coming down at the end also changed the calculation here. But if you're just reading the backside edge, this is one where you can hand off, right? But yeah, it's hard to be able to tell what Mahomes was doing, what he wanted to do. It's clear that it just didn't work. We can see it here from the end zone view. And to make matters worse, Mahomes actually gets to this ball first, but Ed Oliver kind of wins the fight for the ball right there. But most frustrating while watching this game was, we've already seen 3 mistakes from the Bills that didn't result in anything. The Chiefs made one mistake. Really, through this whole game, they kind of put the ball in harm's way one time, and it resulted in the game's only turnover. That's just the way the ball was falling during this game, and it's quite frustrating as a Chiefs fan. Now, this is the drive following the Mahomes fumble. There's 12:01 to go in the second quarter. The Bills are down 7-3, and they have a 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 27-yard line. So let's take a look at this play, and then we can break it down. We've got Allen in the gun. He's got 3 to his left, 2 right in the empty. Hits the back of his drop, doesn't see anything he likes, and Mike Dana grabs him and strips the ball, but Allen is able to pick it up one-handed with his left hand to retain possession. So the Bills come out here, and they've got 2 tight ends on the field, and it looks like they've got 1 running back. 41 is their fullback. So is this looks like an interesting 12 personnel. So it looks like 1 running back, 2 tight ends gets you 12, And it looks like we've got 2 wide receivers. See who that is over there on the other side. I don't even know. Oh, we're not going to see on the end zone copy. Is that Shakir? That might be Shakir all the way over there. He's someone who looks small. Anyway, so what they're doing on this play, they kind of run everybody out, and they kind of run what looks like a mesh, except they've got like a deeper concept here, and then Kincaid also goes up the field. And so here on their mesh concept, they're kind of getting Samuel to go low and then hooking here, but the Chiefs do a good job passing this off. So no one really comes open immediately. As Allen hits the back of his drop, he doesn't really have anybody. And he looks to be looking in the middle of the field. Again, he might be trying to work on Bolton, but Bolton did a good job. He was pretty sticky in coverage in this game. Dana, on the other hand, does a great job against Spencer Brown, getting the edge. And then as Brown tries to work him toward the back of the pocket and Allen steps up, he does a good job cornering enough to get over to Allen and to get the ball. And again, the Bills now have put the ball on the ground twice, and Allen somehow, with that left hand, is able to scoop it up as he's going down, so the Chiefs can't recover it. Really an athletic play from Josh Allen. Here he is. He's looking over the middle of the field. Nobody comes open. Dana gets the strip, and then look at Allen with his left hand just able to corral it. At this point, Allen has thrown 2 balls to Chiefs defenders. He's put the ball on the ground twice, and the Bills still have no turnovers. Mahomes put the ball down once, and the Chiefs turned it over once. It was getting to be one of those games at this point where you were like, man, if the ball doesn't start bouncing the Chiefs' way, it's going to be hard to win this one. We now jump ahead to 2:56 to go in the third quarter. The Bills have just scored a touchdown to go up 22-21, and they're trying to go for 2 to get it to a 3-point game. So let's take a look at the play, and then we'll break it down. We've got Josh Allen in empty with a bunch to his left and 2 to his right. A motion in the running back, and he drops back, hits the back of his drop, and then gets pressured. He ultimately gets sacked, loses the ball, and the Bills recover. So the Chiefs did a good job kind of sorting through all of this. What the Bills ended up doing was they sent Samuel on this kind of across toward the back of the end zone. Shakir then came and did the shallow, and Mac Hollins came through and just tried to sit in this gap of the zone. On this side, Kincaid came up and curled, and let's see where exactly Ty Johnson was from inside, that's why. So Kincaid came up and curled, and Ty Johnson tried to come outside. And the Chiefs did a really good job of passing, sorting through, especially this bunch. They kind of kept 4 over 3 over here, and they kind of manned up on this side. And Bolton was like the main guy just hanging out in center field. So on this, it's kind of a split field coverage here where they try to box it 4 over 3. And on this side, it looks like it's pretty much just straight man coverage. And really, like, Hollins kind of sits in this hole, but nicely as Samuel comes across, Bolton does a good job dropping back and getting him here. Unlike what happened on the 4th down touchdown that Samuel caught. That's Coleman coming across. That's a 0, not a 1. But as Coleman comes across, Bolton does a good job picking him up. Allen doesn't really have options, and as he hits the back of his drop, Chris Jones utterly destroys the left guard, so he has to come up off of his spot, and then Karlaftis is able to disengage at that point, so he's face-to-face with Karlaftis with Jones in pursuit, and Jones manages to get him right as he's throwing the ball. He fumbles, and the Bills recover that one too. Now this fumble doesn't really count on the stat sheet. It's a 2-point conversion play, so it's not really wouldn't have been a true turnover, but it definitely looks like an empty hand going forward. But another situation, not one that is nearly as high leverage as the others we brought up, but Bills put the ball on the ground again and somehow come up with it. Now we jump ahead again to 56 seconds to go in the third quarter. At this point, Buffalo has the ball up 22-21, and they're driving. They have a 2nd and 1 at about their 47-yard line or so. Let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. The Bills are in shotgun. Then Allen actually comes up and gets under center. He's got trips to his left. Hands it off to Davis, who fumbles the ball, and somehow it bounces right back into him, and he recovers his own fumble. So here we are. The Bills are under center. They've got 2 wide receivers and a tight end here over on the left. They're actually in 11 personnel, just 1 running back, 1 tight end. Benefit there is they've kept the Chiefs in their nickel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs, and just the 2 linebackers on the field. So advantageous group to run against if you trust your guys in 11 personnel. It's just a handoff over the left. Shakir actually gets blown off the ball here. And then Shamari Connor comes in to fill. And as he comes in to fill, he manages to rake over Davis's arm. Look at that ball right on the ground. Bounces, and Davis is able to just fall on it before Tranquil can get to it. The ball didn't seem to be taking any weird bounces for whatever reason. Not in this one. So here it's Justin Reed that ultimately comes down and lines up over Shakir, who ends up blowing up this run play. Comes in and just drives Shakir inside. Hollins has to kick out to get Watson, and so Connor is completely unimpeded coming up to the ball carrier, and he's able to get his right arm right on the ball, just pop it right out there, and he's able to fall right on it. Unfortunately, didn't squirt out, didn't take a weird bounce, nothing. So at this point, this is 4 fumbles from the Bills, and somehow the Chiefs just haven't been able to get on a single one. At this point in the game, the Bills were driving, they were leading. It was near the end of the third quarter. It was starting to look like every bounce was going their way, and a little bit of doubt was creeping up in, I know, my mind, just that, if they're going to get every break like this, if they're somehow globally appearing to play a clean game, even though they've been extremely sloppy, they just haven't turned it over. I don't know. If every bounce keeps going this way, I'm not sure if the Chiefs could pull it off. It was a nerve-wracking time. So in our last play in this segment, we are a couple plays later from the previous one. We're now at a 4th and 1, and the Bills have the ball. It's just started the fourth quarter. The Bills are up 22-21, trying to convert. And we'll run this. They get ready for a quarterback sneak. Now, notably, and you'll see in another segment of the film review, we'll talk about the quarterback sneak and their strategy. The Bills had been going over the left guard, really trying to hit that B gap between the guard and the tackle a lot on their quarterback sneaks, and the Chiefs seemed ready for it. At this point, the Chiefs had already stopped a couple and at least made life tough sledding on every time they were trying to sneak it. So in this situation, Allen changed things up and decided to go over the top rather than go through the B gap. And when he went over the top, he ended up fumbling the ball. And somehow in that scrum, it seems like he was able to recover it. So that was the 5th Bills fumble of this game. The 4th one that really counted because, as we showed you, one of them was on a 2-point attempt. But interestingly, when this ball came out, it's hard to see. We're not going to get any elucidation from this all 22 about what happened. But the Chiefs players seemed pretty confident they had it initially. I wonder why. you'll see like a bunch of Chiefs players at the end of this pointing. They really felt good about this. I don't know why. But true to form in this game, the Bills managed to recover it again. And, after seeing all these plays, I wonder if you are thinking like I was during the game and even now, how did the Bills manage to not turn the ball over in this game? They got a nice clean 0 on the stat sheet, but fortunately, a couple plays did end up going the Chiefs' way. The big sneak stop a little bit later in this drive that helped like turn momentum around for the Chiefs. But oh man, a lot of things, even in the midst of sloppiness, a lot of things worked out for the Bills in this game. Whatever reason, the crucial mistake didn't happen, even when they had multiple times where they were giving the Chiefs opportunities. But Chiefs still managed to pull this one out.